Good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to Friday Devotion. And I want to speak on this subject this morning, and it's about not judging others, not judging others. There used to be an advert on the television that was promoting the Guardian newspaper. And if you go onto YouTube, you can still watch the clip of that advert. But the advert was this. There was this young guy running down a high street past lots of shops, and all the shops had scaffolding, so there was obviously a lot of work being done on the shops. And this young guy had a skinhead, he had a leather jacket, he had tight jeans, and he had high Dr. Martin boots on his feet, and he looked a real thug. He looked like he was gonna beat someone up, and he was running down the street underneath all this scaffolding. And ahead of him was this city gent. This city gent had this really nice black coat on, he had a smart hat, and he was carrying a briefcase. And as you watch this camera angle of this young guy running down this street, he pushed into this young guy and into this gentleman, into this city gent, and he pushed him into the shops. And it looked like, from the camera angle, that this so-called young-looking thug was going to beat this guy up and steal his briefcase. That's what it looked like, because that was the angle of the camera. And then the camera angle changes, and you see this pile of bricks falling from the top of the scaffold, and they were about to crush this city gent to death. And the angle is that this young guy pushes him into the doorway of a shop and saves his life from being crushed by these thousands of bricks that were falling down from above. And it got me thinking this week, in fact, it's got me thinking over the last couple of days, what camera angle do I look from when it comes to thinking about others? What camera angle do I look from when it comes to judging others? Do I see the young man running down the street looking like he's going to rob and beat up a city gent? Or do I see it from another angle that he was actually trying to save his life? How many times in my life do I judge others, or I think of other people wrongly because of the angle that I'm looking from? It's almost like the lens that I'm looking through is wrong, or it's judging, or it's being harsh, or it's being critical. And it's really fascinating that when you read the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus starts chapter 7 by "Do not judge others unless you will be judged." Jesus was a teacher, he was a rabbi. And in Jewish culture, rabbis had six things, six sacred ways. What they actually said was this, that if you did these six works, it brought a man credit. And that's what rabbis would teach. And one of the six sacred duties, one of the six sacred ways was thinking the best of other people. Wow, when I read that this week, I thought, how amazing. You know, they had things like, another one of the sacred ways was hospitality. It was looking after the sick. It was educating children. There was and you kind of think, I love all those ways, but one of the six sacred ways that Jewish rabbis taught was that if you thought well of other people, or you thought the best of other people, it was a credit to a man, it was a credit to a woman. And it was one of the six sacred duties, thinking the best of other people. That really challenged me this week, and it really made me think how easily I judge based on my angle, based almost like on the camera angle and the way that I view things. How easy my camera or my angle or the way I thinks the worst of other people. How easily I can judge others and have a wrong attitude because of maybe things like their accent. Hey, their place of origin, where they come from, the way they handle their children, the way they cover their bodies in tattoos, the way they change the colour of their hair every week, how many piercings they have on their body. They've got nose piercings, ear piercings, piercings through their eyebrows, the kind of family they come from, the kind of job they have, what they look like when they walk into the church building. And it's so easy to make a judgment on people just by the way they look, by their accent, what they do. And I been so guilty of that in my life in the past. I sometimes find myself judging people in my thought process. I sometimes find myself judging people by just the easy comment that I make or the things I observe, and I think, I wouldn't do it like that. Oh, I don't like the way they bring their kids up, or, oh, look at the colour of their hair, or how many tattoos they've got on their body. And it is so easy just to make a judgment on people based on the most ridiculous things in our lives. And I was even in a conversation at Hope Church yesterday, and there was a member of the church just saying, how it's so easy to judge people when people come in to things like food bank, because they come in for a food pass, and you think, I wonder if they really do need all that food. And one of the young ladies just said to me, but we're not here to judge, are we? We're here to just serve. And Jesus said those words. In Matthew 7, he said, do not judge lest you be judged. I find that so challenging, because I don't think naturally I'm an overly judgmental person, but I find myself falling into that trap so easily, and I end up judging somebody based on my camera angle or based on my view, rather than seeing the whole picture, rather than seeing the person for who they really are. I love the way Jesus puts Matthew chapter 7 verse 1 and 2 in the Message. He says this, he says, don't pick on people, jump on their failures, criticise their faults, unless of course you want the same treatment. That critical spirit has a way of a boomerang effect on your life. And I think that's so true, isn't it? Sometimes I can so easily judge people, but I don't want people to judge me. We all mess up, don't we? I messed up this morning. I dropped my camera about 7 minutes before we came online, and it fell on the floor, and I said a word that I shouldn't have said, and I'm just being really honest here, and it accidentally went live, and I had to press the delete button really quick. And I'm thinking, if people saw that, they'd judge me. Maybe that's what I'm like all the time. And we all mess up, don't we? Jesus goes on to say, don't try and take the speck of sawdust out of your brother's eye when you've got a plank of wood in your own. And I so easily do that. I try and pick the speck of sawdust out of my brother or my sister's eye, but I've got a plank of wood in my own. And I think the challenge of that this morning is, what's your camera angle when it comes to thinking of others today? What's your camera angle? How do you judge people so easily when you see a situation or you see a way a person behaves? And so often we don't take the time to find out what that person is really like. And so it really challenges me. Maybe I'm just speaking to myself today, but maybe just me sharing that this morning just provokes us to live today and live the rest of this week by not judging people by the way we look at them or by the way we see things, but to be non-judgmental. Let's not try and take the speck of sawdust out of someone else's eye when we've got a plank of wood in our own. And so, Lord, I pray today that you would help us to be impartial, to be those of grace and love and kindness, to take on that sacred duty that the rabbis used to teach of thinking the best of everyone all of the time. And may we live like that in the way that we live today. In your name we pray. Thanks for listening this morning. Have a great day, a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you on Sunday at our online service. Bless you and take care. Thanks a lot.